You can fix your house up or your parents' house up. You can buy a nice car, or you can go get a degree. And you're given the 50 G's. How many people do you think would choose a degree?
None.
Nobody. Zero. So they linked the loan.
One of the first videos I saw of yours was about university.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting to me.
Another scam.
Well, interesting, yeah. I mean, I wasn't very good at school, and when I was at school, I feel like at school, certainly my experience is they push you down one of two directions. It's either go on to be academic, go to university, or if you're a bit of a dum-dum, then learn a trade, go to college, learn to be a builder. And for me, I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna have to go down the second route. Yeah. And when I was 16 and I was doing a bit of Googling, I came across some, interesting books like Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it was just crazy to me because I'm 16 and I'm thinking there's this whole other world about investments and business and entrepreneurship, which is completely not taught at school.
Completely, because that's not, and it's interesting you say that because I have this saying and nobody seems to understand it. Money's not real. What do you mean money's not real? Money's not real. It's not real. Money's not real. It's numbers on a screen. It's not a real thing. And once you start putting systems in place that generate huge sums of money, and once you get to the point where money basically has no value, like I do, I can go buy a Ferrari today and my bank balance will look basically the same. It doesn't change anything. So money isn't real. It's just numbers. It's all fucking invented. It's printed from the sky. It's garbage. You just have to find a way to make people understand your value. And yeah, it can just appear from absolutely nowhere. And I went from completely broke to hundreds of millions of dollars. And I know what you're saying in regards to this other world, because there is a subsect to humanity. It's kind of strange. When I was broke, when I was on a council estate in Luton, I thought everyone was poor. And now that I have money, it kind of feels like everyone's rich. I go to buy a plane and they're like, no, sold out. I thought you fucking sold out of planes? I go to buy a Bugatti and they're like, sold out. I'm like, all the shit's
Who are these people?
Yeah, everyone's bought everything. Like, and it's crazy how many people out there have such ridiculous sums of money, truly ridiculous sums of money. There are so many rich people in the world, and it's kind of like your reality is based on, it's the Matrix, right? If you're broke, everyone's broke. If you're rich, everyone's rich. And a lot of people have this separation. I was lucky to live in both worlds, but a lot of people have this separation. So.
And most people in that rich world are quiet about it.
Yeah.
Maybe because, have you noticed as well with the media, in every movie?
So pretty much, all right, the way I can break that down real quick is pretty much that, like, the people who make money, right? Some of them want to share that ideology, but the government doesn't really want to share that ideology. And you can tell because the real ways to make money, the understanding of money is not found in school, all right? I went to a business school, a business-oriented school. I took business classes, and they didn't teach you how money moves. They didn't teach you about how to get loans, interest rates. That wasn't their main focus. Their main focus was, oh, you're an entrepreneur. Here's the difference between a sole proprietorship, a partnership. And it worked to a certain extent, but they weren't really helping you apply these things in life. They were like, yeah, here, open up this cookie stand. But they weren't going above and beyond as to how can we adapt these things with technology, all right? That's what that school really lacked a lot of, man. And they truly made you seem like, oh, we have a virtual enterprise class and all this shit. For what? Y'all weren't even using it. So I'm like, yo, like, nobody was spending money. It was a public school, thank God. But it's like you're conditioning all these kids to do what? Go to college? And you're not even teaching them how money works so they can get themselves into more and more and more debt? Pushing them down. Come on, man. That was some bullshit.
The jerk is always a rich guy. Titanic, Jack's poor, but the narrative, I don't know if it's the same. You grew up in America, right?
Well, but you have to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself from obviously crime.
Yo, shout out to Kyle. Used to hate Samuel Leeds, but it's refreshing to look at things from an unemotional POV. I don't even know why I hated the guy, so I'm trying to watch from an unbiased perspective now. Took business classes too and almost failed. Ironic because now I make more than those teachers while doing my own thing. You see, bro? You see? And the greatest thing is that, yo, listen, if you're a creator and you want to talk to Kyle right here, he knows how to edit videos very well. And more importantly, he's really great at thumbnails. Credible at thumbnails, all right? If you want to pick up something, that pick up something that's going to challenge you, I think it's creating thumbnails. All right, there's more and more YouTubers every single day, and thumbnails is doing what? It's posting like an ad, a billboard ad every single where, right? Everywhere when you walk on the street, at least in New York City, you see ads everywhere, right? And guess what? They force you to stop and look and be like, all right. That's what Kyle's good at. He's good at getting you to click. He's good at creating thumbnails, working with the composition, working with the colors. That's a good skill. That's what they should teach in business school.
You have to protect yourself from governments. You have to protect yourself from backlash. A lot of people do not see the risk reward of being so loud and so vocal.
Yeah.
I do in my particular circumstance. But yeah, it'd be easier to be quiet about certain things.
The only thing more annoying to British public about someone being rich is them being rich and vocal about it.
And that's and I understand why, but I built absolutely all of it myself. I started, like I said, from the Council of State in Luton. I did all of it myself. And it's interesting you said about discovering that other world, because I always knew the same thing. When I was going to college, you're talking about the two routes. There was A-levels and B-Tech. They used to call it,
college.
College, B-Tech, like the trades, or there was A-level to go to university. So I did a separate path to you. I was going to the A-levels to go university, and I was walking to college with a couple of my friends, and a Ferrari drove past. And I said, "Bro, you see that?" And he goes, "Yeah, what about it?" I said, "Doesn't that piss you off?" I must have been about 16. He goes, "Why?" So this dude has 400 G's for a car, 400 grand. I'm walking 4 miles to college because my mom hasn't got any car. He has 400 grand. Do you think he works a job? Do you think he's fucking behind a counter somewhere? He knows something about the world that I don't know.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, he's rich." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I didn't say he wasn't rich, dummy. I'm saying he knows something about the world I don't know." And I was intrigued, and it angered me. I couldn't sleep for weeks. I was pissed off. Every time I saw somebody with genuine money, I understood that everything I was being told and taught and they were trying to make me believe just simply wasn't true. I was like, this is bullshit. None of these people are getting these things by following the path that the system is trying to make me follow. Yeah. Nobody, and everybody intrinsically knows this. If you go to if you're at a BP, you're at a petrol station, and I pull up in my Lamborghini, nobody goes, "Wow, he went to school. Yeah. He studied hard."
Right.
Do they fuck? They're like, drug dealer, gangster. and they do that because they know that the easiest way to amass wealth is to break the rules, because the rules are not designed to allow most people to make.
Honestly, that's kind of true in my life. When I was in high school, I saw a lot of the guys that were 16 years old. You know, in New York City, you can't even drive till you're 18. But the guys who wanted to drive, guess what? They found a way. They went up to Pennsylvania, they took their driver license test, they got somebody in their family to teach them, and they went out of their way to sit here and essentially bend the rules legally to get what they wanted. And I wasn't doing that. You know, my mom didn't know how to drive. I didn't have no pops and nothing. I didn't really have nobody to teach me. I didn't have any money to sit here and trade to teach me and all that shit. Eventually I did, because I have a car, I drive, I even drive a motorcycle, bro, and that shit is scary as hell. But in life, at a young age, you have to learn to take a little risks and bend the rules. Learn where the gray area is, all right? Because when you bend the rules, not necessarily break them, all right? Because this is YouTube, we're not going to talk about breaking rules, all right? But when you bend the rules and you know where that gray area is, there's a lot of money that can be made in that little gray area.
Money. You can make money within the rules, of course you can. But most people don't. Most people who follow the path work, consume, die. That's it.
Yeah.
So I always knew the same thing as you, and I knew there had to be another way. I knew that just working for money was a paradigm that wasn't true. And then you understand making your money work for you, and you understand delinking your time from money.
Yeah.
You start learning to understand these things, but eventually you build a system, and you build an ecosystem like me. I have 60 or 70 people work for me all around the world. And things just happen and money just kind of appears as long as everything's well organized.
Do you think that it's kind of becoming more...
And all right, this is what you can take from that, man. This is one of the things I really learned from that, is pretty much that there's always the guy that works a 9 to 5 that has to sit here and talk to guests and, you know, be relatable. And that's why it's important to go through that 9 to 5, to truly see the value in those employees and getting paid minimum wage, right? You need to go through that. You need to be able to articulate what you went through. So there's this big saying pretty much that's like, are you going to be the guy that pushes the button all day? Or are you going to be the guy that creates the function for people to be able to push that button, and then you get somebody to push that button for you and you pay them? You pay them. You give them what they're worth, right? And that's why I don't sit here and I shame guys for working at 9 to 5. I don't work a 9 to 5, but I do work like 2 days as a bartender, so it's kind of like a 9 to 5. but I work nighttime, and I make good money because it's a valuable skill. But that's not my point. My point is that, you know, there's a certain level you have to be able to have a minimalistic lifestyle, create a budget, all right? Have a certain amount of money so that when you have a good idea, that's when you take that money that you saved and then you put it somewhere where you're like, all right, I'm going to get employees and I'm going to pay them off a little bit. And then I'm going to create a service for somebody else, and then you're essentially making the money. And what you're doing is, as the boss, you're handling the problems in between. So that's the next level at which you get at.
Well known though, entrepreneurship and how to get into business now than it was, say, 10, 20 years ago.
It's certainly easier to make money now than ever before.
I think so.
Oh, it's easier than ever before to make money. I meet so many fucking 17-year-olds, 19-year-olds, kids with an e-com store or some crypto garbage to make quick, fast money now is almost easier than it's ever been. Now, that has advantages and disadvantages. I was talking to a young guy the other day, and he was 22, I think. He caught a crypto pump. He made like $4 million in the last bull run. And now all the coins have gone down, whatever. He sold some. He has like $1.5 million. He's like, oh yeah, so I'm waiting for the next pump. I was like, bro, the problem with you is you've now been ruined for life because you're 22, you made easy money, and you think that you don't have to ever do any serious work. You also have no skill. Problem is with the crypto pump, it doesn't teach you anything. You didn't learn sales, marketing, staff management, stress tolerance.
You need that.
Nothing. He doesn't know how to do anything. So he's just sitting there just gambling on shit coins, waiting for the next one to pump. And he's 22, and his ass is never going to want to get a real job, and he doesn't have any skills. So I think he's in a lot of trouble, truthfully. And I made this clear to him. So it can be a detrimental thing. It can be a bad thing. But in terms of making money, it's certainly easier than it's ever been because we live in a global marketplace now. You can reach the world, and all you have to do is have a message worth making people listen to. The hard part about making money today is that we live in an attention economy. You have to garner attention from people. It's difficult, right? Because anyone can start a YouTube channel, but it's getting the views that is hard, right?
Exactly. So one of the things I do want to touch on as well was the crypto part, right? Because I do believe in crypto. If you understand blockchain technology, it's actually very, very valuable. And there will be another pump. There's definitely going to be another pump. Why? Because there's going to be a lot of demand for that amount of technology. Right now, the economy is looking really bad. If you follow economics, if you see what's happening in the UK, what's happening in Germany, and then essentially what the US is doing, the war tensions between Ukraine, all this has a big impact on our economy and how much people are spending. All right. The dollar right now, it's great if you've saved, and that's why it's important to make 6 month plans, all right? Because you're like, all right, you know what? Before I get into real estate, if you got into real estate before, now is not the greatest time to be in real estate. There's going to be another opening, and you got to look out for those opportunities if you miss that boat, right? So it's like you need to be very critical of what you're doing with your money, and you need to be constantly educating yourself. And it's true, like if you're only stuck on crypto, if you're only stuck on one thing and you're not diversifying and understanding different markets, all right, then you're kind of just sitting there waiting for that pump, which is detrimental. But if you are waiting at that pump, at the very least, work on yourself physically, work on yourself mentally, work on another brand, find new ways to improve the skills that you already have, at the very least, if you're waiting for that crypto to pump up.
Yeah. So you have to be talented enough and skillful enough to garner attention. But if you can garner attention, then you can make money. I think that's the new modern way to view the world. It's an attention economy. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're getting attention, you'll make money from it. Yeah. And I think that's what's happening en masse.
Interesting as well, because when I first started getting interested in investments and stuff, I'd start going on courses, getting mentors. Because if you want to be good at anything, you need a coach. Yep. If you want to be, you're a world champion kickboxer. Yeah. I'm sure it would have been impossible if you hadn't have paid for a coach.
Absolutely.
Right. And all my friends at the time were saying to me, oh, that's so risky. Yeah. What are you doing? And I'm thinking, you're going to uni to study drama. Yeah. For 4 years, and I'm learning about property and investments, and you think what I'm doing is risky.
Yeah, investing in yourself, especially learning from somebody who is already doing what you want to do, is not risky. And you're right. The people who believe that's risky are just stuck deep inside the matrix. Because you're right, they're going to pay 60, 70,000 pounds for a degree from university, which is one, completely useless. And secondly, it's always kind of been amazing to me. You talked about kickboxing. If I want to go learn kickboxing, I expect my coach to be able to fight. If I want to go learn piano, I want to see my piano teacher play piano. Yeah. But people will go to university and learn business from a dude who's never had a business, who's broke. It's just like, it's clown world. It's stupid. Yeah. Like, education is becoming decentralized, which is actually one of my products, so I'm going to talk about it. But education is becoming decentralized now with the internet. And the smartest thing you can do is look at somebody's life and go, this guy is living or he's doing exactly what I want to do. I'll learn from him. That is the smartest thing you can do, as opposed to just going to these traditional educational systems. Because the reason university is such a massive scam, and I said this a million times, is because it exists in an echo chamber. It doesn't exist in fair competition. The reason universities still manage to function is because they'll give children loans to go to these schools, but you're not allowed to use the loan for anything else. If I were to say to the average 18-year-old, here's 50 grand. You can either start your own business, you can buy crypto, you can buy mentorship from you, me, another millionaire online, you can fix your house up or your parents' house up, you can buy a nice car, or you can go get a degree. And you were to give them the 50 G's. How many people do you think would choose a degree?
None.
Nobody. Zero. So they link the
fact.
loan to the degree. So the choices are either don't get the loan at all, or get the loan and go to school.
Yeah.
Which means that the universities don't exist in fair competition. There's no fair competition within the entire educational system.
Right.
As soon as there's fair competition, nobody would choose it because it's such a terrible choice.
Yeah.
It suffers from double inflation. It gets more expensive every year, and more degrees exist every year. So the value goes down, the price goes up year on year on year on year.
Exactly, and you see that, like, that's just a more way of getting people to sit here and consume more. You know, they can't do anything. That's why they call, like, liberal arts the most worthless degree. Because what are you gonna do with that? Absolutely nothing. What job are you gonna get with that? Absolutely nothing. Because nobody cares. Businesses don't care about a liberal arts degree. That shit is dumb. All right, it's for people that are confused and like, oh, I kind of ended up here because society told me to, my parents told me to, my friends are doing it, and my teachers told me to do it too. So I'm here, and I got a liberal arts degree, and what the fuck am I going to do with it? I'm not going to make any more money. I've just spent more money. That's it. All right? That's why there's very few doctors, lawyers, all right? Maybe certain technical engineers, certain accountants, certain financial degrees. Those are the few that you really need a plan for, all right? And you still need to have mentorship, and you need to have that in. Because I've interviewed a financial analyst that works in Wall Street, all right? Actually worked for Deutsche Bank, which is pretty crazy enough because they're gonna go, they may be going bankrupt or some shit. But my point is that he told me, he was like, yo, like, they won't even consider you. I wouldn't even consider a person, even if they were really, really good at technical analysis or TA or anything like that, without a valid bachelor's degree. All right. So it's like, if you have a plan before you go into college and you know you need this bachelor's degree and you know how it's going to help you later on down in the future, that's the only time you should utilize it. You should not be going to get a degree if you're confused and you don't know what you're spending your money towards.
Total waste of time.
Yeah.
But children are bored and they think, well, I don't get the money any other way, so I may as well take it. And that's why the whole educational system's a scam. I actually have my own university.
Hustle's University.
I'm changing the name, and that's going to be relaunching very shortly. But I have a university that teaches 18 modern wealth creation methods, and it's purely online. And we teach a different way to make money than perhaps the traditional system. And it's cheap. It's like $50, $60 a month. For me to get 100,000 students like I have now at $60 a month is not impressive. What's impressive is that I keep them. I'm giving more value than the $60 a month. They can go and spend that $60 in Nando's or buy some coffee or do anything else they want with it. But they choose to go to my school because I'm existing in a fair, competitive environment and I'm outperforming. A university can't do that. All these other universities can't do it because they're all a fucking scam.
Yeah, they're probably comparing it to university where you're literally paying 30 grand to learn from someone who's being paid 30 grand to get 30 grand.
It's all a scam, yeah. Whereas what we're doing is actually, teaching people. We have massive success stories. Obviously, we have a lot of people who are making a lot of money. We have all the reviews, everything on the website, cobratate.com. But the fact that people have a choice, they don't have to invest in my university. They can take that money and spend it on anything else on the planet, and they still see my university as worthwhile.
Yeah.
That's how I know it's a competitive product.
Surely you think there's a place for university there?
If you want to be an architect and you have to study architecture, if you want to be a lawyer and you have to study law, that's fine.
You see, that's where a person is sensible. Because if you were to sit here, if Andrew Tate were to be like, oh, I'm so stuck on, no, absolutely a scam, you can't be, you see, lawyer, medicine, architecture, all the things that you obviously know you need a degree for, and these are people that are determined to do it, all right? You shouldn't go be a doctor if you want money, all right? People who want to genuinely learn about being doctors, they don't go in it all just for money. They go in it because they genuinely care. They understand that this is really, really, really hard and difficult. And it serves a greater purpose. Those are the people that should be doctors. When I go to a doctor, I don't want him to think about just about money. I want to look at his experience. How much do you truly care about the people that are coming in through your door? Those people are valuable. Those people, if they put people first over the money will come.